Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to this week's edition of Mental Mondays on Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking the video out and spending some time with me today. And if it's your first time to Mental Mondays, welcome. This is a sort of a little club we have here. We do something once a week that really didn't have much to do with fishing, sort of talk about current events and things that are on people's minds. So welcome everybody. Guys, today we're going to be talking about the anxiety and the stress that the upcoming election is putting on Americans across the country. I think it's a good video to talk about. It's definitely at the forefront of everybody's attention right now, so we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, I just wanted to extend a big thank you out there to everybody that's taken time to use all the links we put in the description here, especially my Tackle Warehouse links. All you guys that are using those links to purchase your fishing tackle are really doing a big part to help the channel out, so really appreciate that. Okay guys, first of all, before we get into this, one of the things I want to say here is this is not a political video. That's not what this video is about. So any of you dudes out there that want to like slam some political candidate or try to make your point, as far as how you're aligned with, those comments will get deleted. We're going to talk about how this is affecting Americans, sort of emotionally more than anything else. So that's sort of the point of the video. I think one thing we can all agree with, I have never, I've been voting in elections for president since 1980 when I first was old enough to vote. And I've never seen, there's not anything that's even been remarkably close to the amount of stress and anxiety that this particular election is putting on people. There's a lot of different reasons for that. I think that one of the things that we've seen take place here is in the advent of social media that sort of came about over the past decade. There's something that I call that has sort of developed called the Twitter faction. And the Twitter faction is basically people that get on social media and comment. And also there's been quite a few elected people that have been elected into different type of positions of power across the country that use social media as sort of a populist mechanism to promote themselves. And they use this social media not for the good of the country, but they do it to improve their own position and to draw attention to themselves. So as a result of that, we've seen a lot of people that have entered politics over the last decade that for lack of a better way, they make a lot of waves unnecessarily, and those waves are designed to bring attention to themselves. And when you do that, when you have populist candidates come in, what I mean by populist candidates, I mean about candidates out there that are not really qualified for the job. They don't have the experience, they don't have the fortitude, they don't have the character, they don't have the discipline, they don't have the empathy, the intelligence, the critical thinking skills to really serve. But at the same time, they're good communicators, and they appeal to the public. They appeal to a certain element of the public simply because of their personality. That's sort of what we have came here. And when you do that, that creates a tremendous amount of division, because when you're appealing to people's emotions over their intellect and reason, that's one of the things that happens with that. So that's sort of a dynamic that has come, through the advent of social media. And I think that we can all agree, it's like, when you look back at the political candidates we have over the last decade versus the political candidates we have had over like the last 40, 50, 60 years, there's a lot of people that have no business being in politics that are in politics. I think a lot of people, most everybody can agree with that. Now, the thing about this is like when you're talking about the anxiety and the stress that this creates on people, it's not everybody, because I'll tell you one thing about people that follow politics, guys, is you've got half the people in this country don't care. They're completely disconnected from it. They don't pay any attention to it. They go about and they just do their own deal. They don't even know anything about politics. They can't tell you the first thing about the three branches of government. Most of them don't even know what the three branches of government are, let alone the functions those three branches have. And then you've got, 25% of the people out there that are sort of casual observers of it, and they may follow, some news story leads once in a while, but they're sort of disengaged. And then you got 25% of the public out there, regardless, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, that they're highly involved in, news, and they're up to date on everything. So the situation you have with that is that people have their heels dug in. You're not going to change any people's mind. It's like if you think that you're going to change somebody's mind that has a worldview that's ingrained within their being, you're wrong. It doesn't happen like that. So that's why every election that we have is so close. Most elections are, whatever they are, they're won by just a couple percentage points. And that's especially in the true of the messed up electoral college we have, where, there's millions of people that their votes don't even count because, if we had a popular vote, everybody's vote would count. But since we have an electoral college, there's millions and million people that are disenfranchised and their votes don't count. So a lot of people have become apathetic to that, and that's why they don't vote. That's why you've only got, I think it's something like, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like 30% of the eligible voting population actually votes, and 70% of the people are just disengaged with that. So that's sort of the reality of that situation. Now, what I really want to talk about here, Elijah, what are you doing there? I was just messing with my fishing rods here. What I really want to talk about, guys, is sort of the stress that this particular presidential election is coming up without going into politics. If you follow politics, you're very aware of the situation, regardless what side of the aisle you're on. But regardless, it creates stress. It creates anxiety into everybody because there's a lot of people out there, guys, that think that if they don't get their way and if their candidate doesn't win, it's just like the end of the world. And, we're completely screwed if that doesn't happen. That never happens, guys. So the whole thing about this and what's really important is we've got checks and balances in this country, and the three branches of government that we have in this country are designed to be equal. And obviously, the Supreme Court's recent decision to basically allow presidents to become kings has sort of taken away that a little bit. That's taken away from that equal branch. But regardless, there's going to be some court challenges with that. But regardless, we have a system set up where all three branches of government are equal, and they offer a check and balance on any one particular person that would abuse that power. Now, it's not a perfect system by any means. It doesn't work. We've seen that all a lot of different examples how that doesn't work. But that's one thing that should offer you some comfort and peace a little bit, is that, regardless of what happens in the election, everything's going to be okay, because I think that I personally have confidence in our system that the right people will do the right things to, ensure that the continuity and the continuation of the tradition that we have in this country of sort of being the leader in that, and sort of being the leader in free and fair elections. So, point of the matter is, guys, is just there's no reason to get stressed out about it. It's like you can be active and you can really push, for your particular candidate to win. I think that's people that do that, and they're good, it's a good civics lesson, because one of the things about politics is that it affects every aspect of our life, literally, cultural, socially, financially, our national security interests, everything. I mean, every aspect is affected by legislation, and elections have consequences on every single level, and one of the things that you can do is, you can voice, your support or your opposition to whatever, is important to you. That's a right and a freedom that we all have. But ultimately, in the big picture, it doesn't really make that much difference, because in 150 years from now, none of us are going to be here. We're going to have the country, hopefully, to hand off to other generations, so we definitely have to take care of it. But I think one of the things that that might leave people with some more peace now and moving forward is the fact that it's really, really important, guys, that we take time and put people in positions of power that deserve to be there. The people that deserve to be in positions of power are people that have honesty and integrity and ethics and morals and kindness and compassion and courage, critical thinking skills that are backed up by science. People that are in positions of power that surround themselves with people and advisors that are experts, that can give them solid expert advice. And we need leaders out there, guys. In order to be a leader, We need leaders that our children look up to. It's like the quality that makes a good leader, on top of what I just talked about there, those particular qualities, is somebody that the kids want to emulate and somebody that you would like your kids to grow up to be. A role model to extend. That's part of being a good leader, is like setting an example for the next generation. So if we give our support behind people that fall into that category and quit giving support to people that don't deserve that aren't qualified, that don't have ethics and morals and integrity and honesty and courage and critical thinking skills. As we put people in positions of power that are more highly qualified to be there, then all this anxiety and stress that we have as a country surrounding if somebody's going to do the right thing or the wrong thing it's eased a little bit with that. So anyway, guys, another thing with that is just stop villainizing your neighbor. I mean, if your neighbor doesn't agree with you, don't think he's a bad person or she's a bad person or a demon, because I can tell you right now, if you go fishing with somebody that if you don't know anything about their political background and they don't bring that up, most people are not that different. People are very similar. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody responds to kindness. Everybody does. So one of the things that really, really irritates me is that these people that are really dug in, and these people that are just adamant about, hardcore about their party and their affiliation, they demonize everybody else around them. That's no way we need to exist as Americans. You know, we need to stand up and we need to be together and we need to be strong and united as a country. And we can have our differences, we can have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, you know, I think we all, you know, want the same thing with that. We're not that different, even though that I think there's a vested interest in some people out there to try to create that difference and that division that really doesn't exist and hasn't really been that big of a factor up until the last decade with, like I said, the Twitter faction and social media and all the, you know, stuff that comes with technology. So anyway, guys, hope you're well. Talk to y'all later. See you.